Good evening and welcome to the UpSet podcast. Tonight we're talking about the final countdown coming up next. Hello. Once again, welcome back to the UpSet podcast. We're so happy that you tuned in on this Sunday evening. And we're also happy to have these wonderful people with us this evening. Hey, guys.
Hey, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Everybody's doing all right?
Oh, yeah. Doing great.
Yeah, that track was fire.
Oh, you like that?
I
That's
was waiting
right.
for Keenan to start freestyling.
Now, those days are over for me.
Freestyle is over. Oh, I just realized this is Charles. The Eagles are playing. Is the game over? Are they?
Oh no,
It's still going. What's the
They're
score?
going to halftime, and the Eagles are ahead by 10 points.
Oh, okay.
10-0.
Right? Okay, we can rest easy. Okay, great. Glad to hear that. Hello, Mary. Thanks for being with us. Good evening to you. Thanks for being here, Mary. All right, guys, let's just jump into it. I wanted to introduce, I guess it's a new segment. Oh, thanks, Jimmy. You gave me score 10-0.
10-0. Wow.
10-0, yeah. So we're doing pretty good. Hello. Yes, we are back live, Retha. We are here in the flesh. Hello, Mike Williams. Thanks for being here. Okay, you guys are in the place today. Hey, Corinne. Good evening to you. And yes, good evening to you, Jimmy. Good evening to you out there. So, yeah. What was that, GP?
Oh, I just said, what's up, Jimmy?
Oh, okay. Cool. So, before we jump into all of the things that happened in the news, one of the big things that happened this week was the Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. Did you guys see some of that, or at least some of the and I have to say, I was so tickled by what a lot of content creators and comedians were doing in terms of the interpretation of what people were saying when they were going to their seats, and those are hilarious to me. They were funny to listen to.
And what the possible conversations were.
Yeah. They were like, we can read lips really well. This is what they were saying. And I mean, it was really hilarious. But it got me thinking, which led to our question of the day, or the question of the week for you guys. If you had the opportunity to sit by one of the presidents, I'll let you say which president. What do you think you would say to them? What would your conversation be with them if you had the opportunity to sit beside one of those presidents, and you can pick any one of them? Who would it be, and what would you say to them? And this is to our audience as well, if you want to join in.
Yeah, I'll start because I met one president, Obama.
Oh yes,
and
that's
when
great.
I shook his hand, I told him, "Pleasure to meet you, Mr. President. By the way, we share the same birthday. You should consider hosting all August 4th birthday babies for a presidential luncheon every year." And he laughed.
Oh, that's kind of cool, GP. You always come up with cool ideas. August 4th. Okay.
Let me ask GP, when you saw him, was it like the Key and Peele? Did he just shake your hand, or you embraced them, or
no, dap,
okay.
Met him and Obama. Okay. I mean, him and Michelle in the Oval Office, and not social services. Security was right there.
Yeah, Secret Service.
Put our phones away.
Yeah.
And we walked in there and had 5 minutes with them, and then walked out.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love that.
Man, GB has lived a good life.
So we were there on assignment.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember seeing you guys there in the pictures and the stuff of you. Yeah. Is that when you won? When you guys won the sing off, or was that after?
Many years after, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good. All right, guys. Who you sitting beside, and what are you saying to them?
So maybe okay. So I think I would ask President Bush, how does he feel every time all the presidents are together and Mrs. Obama hands him a mint?
Right.
Because that's their thing. Like, she always hands him a little sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he always has this little grin, because that's their little thing. So actually, how do you feeling when she handed you your sweetie? And then, like, she's not here today. Do you miss your candy? Like,
yeah.
Just something kind of lighthearted,
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, like, how do you have small talk with a former president?
Yeah.
Like, what do you say? I can imagine being awkward. Go ahead, Miguel.
I would be curious to know what kind of music Bill Clinton's listening to now. Yeah, I know he's played the sax. I know he was into jazz. What is he currently listening to? We know Obama comes out with his playlist every year.
Right. I have seen that. Yeah.
What's going on with Bill's playlist?
Okay. All right. That's a good one. He's still thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me, Latasha.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm definitely talking to Barack though. But what if I have one question? What am I asking him?
It doesn't have to be a question. It could just be maybe like, what kind of conversation are you striking up with him? You could be a comment like GP had his suggestion about the August 4th birthday luncheon.
I would like to know, how does he feel about, I'm not going to keep it light, just what are your real thoughts about the new administration? Something along those lines.
I can see it now, shaking his head and giving that little smile. Yeah. Hey, Rodney. What's up, Tiff? Anybody else? Charles, what are you thinking? Are you saying anything, or are you just being polite?
Well, I'm trying to constrain myself because just trying to decide what president and then asking a question. I mean, my problem is I see a lot of disgusting things that all of them did. So I don't know if I would, ask them, or if I did ask them a question, it'd be one that they probably wouldn't or couldn't answer. So I don't know. I may have to pass on that.
You may just say hi.
I think out of the entourage of, former presidents and vice presidents that came to the funeral,
right?
I think if I really had to choose, I think I'd be interested in chatting a little bit with Al Gore. Now, he's not a president.
The president.
He's a vice president. But
yeah. Well, he was a presidential candidate. Yeah.
I saw him. Global woman.
Yeah, that's his thing. Right?
Well, sort of, and he introduced that inconvenient truth, which went a long way. When you find out certain truths, they may not be convenient, especially for industry and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting, mindset about, American people thinking about, how we've come this far and we've kind of made things a little bad for ourselves, environmentally and so forth and so on. So anyway, I think Al Gore would have been an interesting.
I was not surprised to see him, but when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, Al Gore!" It's almost like I had forgotten about him a little bit. And I saw him, I was like, "Oh!" And now he's, silver fox now. Like,
I thought it was interesting that one podcaster zeroed in on the body language and the interaction that all the dignitaries had.
Right.
During the funeral. And pointed out that Barack Obama was seated next to Donald Trump and they were chatting away.
Yeah. And I would love to know what he was saying.
These guys were at each other, right? Especially during the election. Obama got up and said some pretty, negative and derogatory things about, Trump, and
he's done pretty much the same, worse.
Yeah, and one person pointed out that here these guys were at each other's throat, during the election process, and here they're sitting there chatting like they're at a picnic,
But hey, we do that all the time, don't we? We hate to admit, but I think that is difficult to be in a space like that with. And I think Trump has caused the most, division between them. I feel like, all the other presidents really had a good rapport, even with the transitions and whatnot. But it was interesting. And too, some of the things that Trump had even said about Carter, they were, and you guys saw the picture where they show him kind of cropped out of the photo, and they were saying that was the picture that the family selected. Yeah. So it's this angle right where
the post.
Yeah. Yeah. So
well, Trump did say, he was a good president, but he just disagreed with his policies and yeah. So
yeah, this is what they say at death.
These presidents all have to suffer is that they may be very good people, have good relationship dynamics, but it's because of their policies, which when you say it because of their policies, every single president has something that they've done in their administration that is not agreeable.
Yeah.
And many times it's not that president's fault necessarily, but he's running an administration, thousands of people, State Department, military, all that. Sometimes they have no choice but to literally go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes also we forget that just because people are on two different political sides that, bipartisanship exists. Sometimes different parties work together towards a common goal or a compromise to get things done. And so, yes, they may be political enemies, but they can still be friends. It's possible.
Yeah.
Or it's like somebody said, politicians, they just like, entertainers, wrestlers. At the end of the day, they wrestle, but then behind closed doors, they all going to play golf together. So
I don't think that VP Harris is gonna play golf.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't. Yeah.
You're not getting that vibe. Yeah, I got it.
I didn't get that vibe. Yeah.
Good evening, Justin.
Mrs. Clinton is going NIDA.
Oh yeah. I agree with you on that one.
But the guys will, to Keenan's point. I think the guy, but I think the women have taken such a hard hit from Trump that it's almost like it's sickening. What he said about VP Harris, I was like, whew, it was a little beyond politics.
It got really personal. Yeah. So I get it.
Continues to say.
Yeah. Right. That's the sad part. So
one little observation. I know it's not necessarily about the president, but I really admired the precision of the military when they, were carrying his casket. I mean, those men and women were just the best. I mean,
somebody gave me a call on that, Chuck.
Pardon?
Somebody's like, "Oh man, I know you're so proud watching this." I was like, "I'm not watching," but they was like, "Oh, the Navy, they just represent the Navy so well." I said, I don't know which branch it was, but yeah, I heard about that. I got a call about that.
That's good. I'm pleased when they carry out these funerals, whether it be for a former president or senators or whatever. Not senators. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They do so well. Dignitaries. Yeah, political dignitaries. They do so well and handle it with such honor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So so for those who were just joining us, we were talking about, if we had the opportunity to sit beside one of the presidents, what we would say. I mean, I definitely would want to sit beside Obama. I just think he's the coolest. But I also think Bush is kind of cool too. Like he gives me that, like, you could have fun beside him. And maybe I got that from his interaction with Michelle.
Maybe that's why he and Michelle got along.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be the president that you could like whisper jokes with and laugh and, so I don't know. But and Retha said that she would She would definitely, I saw her. She would definitely try to sit beside Obama, but she's not sure what she would say. Yeah, I know. What's up, Steve? Rodney said that he, not because he was black, but he does think Obama was a great president. Okay. Oh, okay. Great. All right. So another thing we wanted to, of course, address, obviously, is the devastating wildfires in California. It almost seemed unreal watching some of the coverage and seeing the aftermath, people's homes totally being destroyed in a matter of minutes for some. So I know some of us were talking about individuals we know personally who have lost everything. And I don't know, how are you guys, I don't say dealing with it, but what do you do when you hear about these things to give yourself proper perspective? Because, some people kind of go like, I can't believe this is happening. And so other people are like, let's just do what we can to help. Like,
yeah, I'll chime in. I spent probably 9 months in Southern California and 2.5 years in Northern California. And it's a unique place. And a lot of people don't know that Southern California is predominantly blue collar. And then you have lots of creatives who flock in from all over the world to chase their dreams. A lot of entertainers, artists, and a lot of people who become successful and do well for themselves. And I was looking on my timeline, and there are some people that I'm connected with, not personally, but through whether it's like a Grammy connection or a musical organization. And I met them many years ago. And some of these folks have lost their homes in Palisades, and they have homes there that are just demolished. I'm just like, is this really happening? Is this real? And I also have a college friend from Oakwood who pastors in Southern California who also lost his home and their family lost everything. And so middle class, upper class, all suffering and mourning the loss of their things and being displaced. It's something that is unimaginable. I think in this time, even in California, people are rallying together how they can to help support each other. And you hear reports of some people looting and doing crazy things, but there are a lot of people doing positive things, trying to alleviate the struggle of someone else, trying to do what they can to help. I see organizations like Guitar Center offering replacements for musicians. Lost instruments. If you submit a claim, we'll replace all your musical instrument and gear for free. Like the generosity has been overwhelming, but the tragedy is just ridiculous, unimaginable, and unfathomable. So we're praying for all those who are affected by that. And people are pointing fingers. Who did it? How did it start? What's going on? But we haven't gotten to the bottom of everything yet. So
and they haven't had rain in
it's always dry. It's always
7-8 months or something like that.
And the state of California has cut back on the budget for their firefighter department, and there are a lot of things, but people are upset, disappointed, and there's a lot of blame being thrown around right now, but we don't know the why yet.
There was firefighter company that came. When I say company, I mean unit that came from South Africa.
I saw that. They arrived to help out.
To come and help. That was powerful to see.
I see this. I didn't know this statistic that 30% of the firefighters are incarcerated persons.
Right. Well, they handpicked the ones that did have experience in firefighting. Once either a firefighter or was in training or something like that. But speaking of firefighters, one reporter reported on an engine company when they couldn't get water out of the hydrants, and they did everything they could, even without water, to try to save homes. And protect lives. And they said that there, some firefighters were so upset. A couple of them were in tears that they just felt helpless.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are they understaffed, but underfunded, and and then not having any water. It really. One fire chief said that one of the things that when you have a fire this devastating and you've got all these engine companies out trying to get water all at the same time, it puts a strain. It would put a strain on a well-prepared water system, but since the water system was a little compromised, it made it even tougher for those firefighters to do their work.
Right.
That's very sad and scary. And it's like, well, what do you do? What is this? The city, what can you do? You see devastating pictures or stories of people trying to bail out water from the pool.
Yeah.
To try and out fires in their homes.
Right.
There was a report of this man died holding a fire hose.
Right.
A garden hose.
Garden hose,
And it's just like, Lord of his mercy, very, very devastating inside. But
there's some
man.
One of the conversations that kind of started before the fires kind of broke out had to do with companies like Nestle, and how they're siphoning water from California, which is ironic. And there are questions about it, the environmental impacts of that, and and we're kind of seeing this unfold before us now. When I kind of deleted social media at the beginning of the year, at least off my phone, so I was kind of not in the loop when it came to this situation. And when I did hear about it, I'm like, well, there's always some kind of a fire on the outskirts of California. I didn't realize how close it was to such a large, population of people. When we were there, Sable and I in 2017 took a picture. Was it Santa Monica with the Ferris wheel on the beach? The picture right there. And then I saw a picture a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
With the red overcast and the smoke, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely hitting home here. But I think there's a larger conversation about the environmental practices that are taking place in these areas. Yes, we know that it's desert land, but this should not be a thing, in my opinion. This is absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
My wife's one of her co-workers, his whole neighborhood was out there in California, burned down, but his house was the only one standing.
What?
Amazingly, yeah.
Do they know why? Like, how did it miss the path? Like,
I have no idea.
Is amazing.
I heard one crazy story about a man who owned a mall in California. And because he knew that the firefighters were, stretched, he hired a private, I didn't even know there was such a thing, a private firefighting group to come protect his mall. I mean, it's unreal.
Talk about the have and the have-nots. But
a couple years ago, Kanye and Kim Kardashian did the same thing. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Really?
Yeah. It's a strange California thing, I guess.
So to put it into perspective, the metro greater Los Angeles area has over 18 million people. I'm not talking about the state. That area that's covered in smoke right now, 18 million people. So basically the second largest metro area in the country. So there are more people in Southern California than most of the states in America.
Wow, that definitely gives perspective. Mercy. And I almost don't want to put your comment up, Tally, because it annoys me. But he brought up the fact that, whenever these devastations happen, there's always some conservatives who want to say that this is judgment from God and Hollywood and all the things that happen. They did the same thing in New Orleans when things happen. It's just like,
Yep.
Why?
Well, no matter what happens, somebody's always going to say something.
Exactly. I'm like, why do we even have to?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
I
always
almost don't even want to comment on those. It's like, just please stop it.
And you know, some
Um,
folks are bringing out that quote
uh,
from Ellen White about what would happen to Los Angeles.
Right.
It's time. It's time.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Wow.
saw an interesting interview with Mel Gibson because his home was destroyed. And the interviewer asked him, he says, well, what, how do you feel? Typical question. How do you feel? What and he kind of reacted like, okay, because Mel Gibson is, it's probably a millionaire, whatever. It's not so much the house, because you kind of assume, well, he'll rebuild a house or buy another house, but he was concerned about his the relics and things that he owned, that one of a kind kind of things that can never ever be replaced.
Yeah,
memories,
and he was also concerned about the lives of people.
Right.
He's just thankful that not as many people. I do know there were some lives lost, but he was concerned, about that. And then, the interviewer asked him, well, what do you think the cause was? And it's like, really?
Yeah, it's getting Mel Gibson. I mean, like he's like, come on.
That was the cause. Well, we need to keep him in our prayers, because I understand the forecast the next couple of days, the winds are going to increase.
Right. Yeah. And I'm seeing many people in the comments sharing individuals that they know personally who have lost homes, some people multiple homes. And thank you, Carrie Williams, for sharing this as well, because yes, our own AEC community service leader, Pastor Smith, Robert Smith, is there with Big Red. I didn't know Big Red was there though.
Really?
Big Red.
I don't know. I thought I saw Big Red in the parking lot.
I was like, I didn't know Big Red was there. So,
What's Big Red?
That's a long haul.
That's our mobile disaster truck.
Oh,
How big is Big Red?
But I do know because he shared with us.
He drove it.
I'm pretty sure he didn't. He shared with us on Thursday while he was there that these are the types of things you just can't describe, being in the area and seeing it firsthand. So definitely want to keep all those who are helping out as well.
I personally want to give a shout out to all those firefighters. All those rescue people. Firefighters from Mexico. I mean, Mexico
I saw that.
rolling into California. As much as we say about Mexico, and they were coming to our rescue.
How about it?
They
went over the wall to come help.
Right.
Yeah.
Cross the Gulf of America to get here, huh?
Right. Stop it.
They went over the wall to come help. Yeah.
He said the Gulf of America.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about those insurance companies. Like this looks like it could be a show in and of itself. And I think maybe we will do one on it once we, have more information, look at some of the causes and talk a little bit more deeply about this. But I wanted to share, at the UpSet podcast, one of the things we have been doing with the merch and the things that we sell is to help in situations like this. This is, we say we want to help in upsetting situations, and this is definitely upsetting situation. And we want to continue to give. I shared before that we, the last thing we gave to was the domestic shelter, but now we want to give to this cause, and so we will be using some of the funds that we have from previous support of the UpSet merch, and we invite you to join us in doing so as well. I'm going to put in the chat where you can give. 100% goes there. Like there's no profit to the UpSet, there's no profit to AC. 100% of what is collected will be sent. And what we plan to do is send this specifically to those GoFundMes that we've seen of individuals in particular that have been impacted. We do know that the Southern California Conference is also raising funds through Adventist Giving. So if you are on Adventist Giving and you prefer to give that way, that's fine. If you like to join UpSet with sending donations to individual families who've lost, we invite you to join us in doing that. But Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's sharing in the comments. I love the way that we kind of come together in these situations to help.
And
is
there a link that will be produced by UpSet so that even our churches, like I would love to share with my district and say, hey, this is a way we can tap in and come together to support.
Absolutely. We'll make sure everyone gets that. Absolutely. But yeah. Yeah, I already mentioned the insurance part, but yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Wow, that's half the show. But we have a lot going on in the world. I mean,
we have a lot going on.
It deserves the attention that was given today. So this is our second show of 2025, right? And we're excited about 2025. And as you saw from the title, for those who pay attention to those type of things, it's called The Final Countdown. And so what do we mean by the final countdown? So it feels even weird to say this, but we want to share with all of you, our faithful viewers and listeners, and that this, which is season 5 of the UpSet podcast, this is officially our final season. I need a little thing, but I don't have it.
Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
Natasha, you almost said that like a pastor giving their farewell to a church. Like I received my notice from the conference. You know, like I felt it. I was leaning forward, like I didn't know what you were gonna say. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it like that, but I always try to make things sound better than what they are, so that I don't like sadness. So I'm trying to make it seem like it's not a good thing, but it's a good thing because one, the season 5 lasts for the whole rest of the year, so we're not going anywhere anytime soon. We're just preparing our audience because we value you all so much. We want you to kind of know what's going on early in the game. And I know many of you probably have questions and things of that nature. So we kind of wanted to just spend some time with you, kind of sharing what we plan to do, and to reassure you that we will still find ways to connect with you all, because I think this is a valuable interaction for you all, our viewers, but also all of us. I think that's also important.
Well, Tosh, you need to answer Winston's question.
Yeah.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
What?
Rodney wants to take a vote.
Let the protest begin.
I'm telling you, this looks like
I was waiting for the long no.
What are you talking about, Tasha?
I know, right? What are we talking about?
So what do you mean last season, final season?
Right. Yeah. You know how some of your favorite shows you watch, like you've been like faithfully watching them for year after year after year, and then finally they announce this is the final season. And as much as you love the show, you do have this anticipation of the final season because you know, like, the storylines are going to be wrapped up and there's going to be a nice bow on it. And so we're hoping that it's like that for you guys. Like, you've enjoyed the show and you're just looking forward to this nice bow that will wrap it up at the end of the year.
But you said that so awesomely, though. I like that. Yeah, I like
Tasha, just stop. You can't smooth it over.
Man, it
is what it is. You know.
Yeah. I know. Right. Yeah, like All American. Yeah, there you go, Rodney. Yes, Mary, you say that watching is a blessing on Sunday evenings, and it's a blessing for us as well. Like, I guess maybe we should go into some explanations here. I mean,
we have an incredible archive.
Put it in reruns.
Yeah, right. And it's amazing though that we are actually in year 5, because I always share, for those who, I don't know, people come and join our UpSet family at different phases. So those who were with us from the beginning know that we pretty much started during the pandemic, because the churches were closed and people were missing each other and interaction. People didn't know what was going on around. And we thought, perfect time to start something like the UpSet podcast, where we can connect with people from all over and just talk and have a space to just be, not a lot of pretense, and share. And we definitely did that. So even when we started the podcast, at least, it was never necessarily intended to be a long-term project, if you will. But it has been such a blessing, and because of you all, it was like we have to keep this going. This is exciting, and it's grown into what I consider a wonderful ministry. I really feel like, even though some of you we've never met in person, I feel like I know people. Like I see names that come up and I'm like, oh, there's so and so. It's like, it's like a family reunion every Sunday. So it's definitely been a blessing. And so, it's not a sad time. It's just, I think everything has seasons, and we're not talking about season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're talking about what does God want to do next? Like, this has been a great, will be a 5-year run for us, but what's next? We're anticipating even more things. Yeah, that's right. Now people have to get their swag. That's right. And we can benefit and help other people because we do have some swag left. So get your swag so we can continue to give to people. And that's what I wanted to say too. This final season, every month we want to be able to donate to a different cause because we want the impact of UpSet to be felt in many places and many spaces, even when we're not on. All right. So Rodney says, how about a monthly podcast instead of weekly? Which is
from 52 to 12.
No, and I appreciate that that question. I think I'm not saying we're opposed to that. I mean, we're open, but I want you guys to know, like, just because UpSet leaves doesn't mean something else isn't coming. We might not know what that is yet, but that doesn't mean something.
Tell us some more, Latasha.
Right.
Listen, it's still early in the year. It's still early in the year, so yes, it
will be replaced.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think we all appreciate what this type of platform can do. But there are other there are other types of things that we can do as well that gives us the same, it just may not be the UpSet. So we'll see. We're open, guys. We're open. But we're
open, or is it Tasha?
No, it's funny. I don't know what it's. I think about it because we were joking how like every Sunday, this is kind of like our day. I mean, we do pre-record some shows, and I think when we first started, guys, we were supposed to like pre-record a lot of the shows. Mm-hmm. But it was our audience that the interaction, they're just so addictive. It was like, no, we want to talk to the people live, and then we ended up just trying to be live as much as possible. So it's just funny. So I want to ask, it seems like the top row are the OGs, those that have been here.
That's right.
Notice that. I thought that was strategic.
It was very strategic. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask OGs, and then I'm going to come to our newbies. When we first started the podcast, did you think it would be what it has become? Or what did you think?
I'll say yes.
Okay.
Because I mean, it was the perfect time to do it anyways, because it was during the pandemic, and launching a remote podcast and showing up weekly, I just believe that after some time, we would build a community, and we would just build a family. And that's what has happened, because we kept showing up, we made a commitment, and we kept showing up. Mm-hmm. And in the process, we have grown individually and collectively together. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Charles, I definitely want to know what Charles thinks.
Well, I wasn't supposed to be here in the first place.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. My story is that I came on just for technical, consultation and all that. And I was about to, just before the I don't know, were we live then, or were we recording?
No, we were just planning what.
Yeah. 5 minutes before, go time. I was like, okay, guys, have a good podcast. Call me if your mic quits or something. And I was asked, "Where are you going?" I said,
Yeah.
"What do you mean? Where am I going?" I said, "No, you have to stay." I said, "Okay." So it's been stuck with me. You know, you've been stuck with me for 5 years.
No, it's not stuck.
Well,
No.
4 years.
No, it's been amazing. And so our newbies,
Well, you didn't answer the question.
Oh, I didn't answer. Thank you, because I do forget to answer these things. I have to say, no, I didn't know what it would become, but I'm a person that I really believe in being obedient to what God is, not pushing on you, but presenting to you. And for me, he keeps laying something on my spirit until it's done. And so I remember, I think I had a conversation with Pat about it, and I was like, do you think anybody would watch? I remember like that being the conversation with him, and he was like, yeah, they'll watch. Just do it. Pat's always, if you want a cheerleader, Pat's the guy, because you're like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it, Yeah. And so, he was really instrumental in just saying, let's do it. Let's go for it. And then of course, when you're trying to think about something like this, you're like, okay, well, who's going to be a part of it? Because that's also very key. Because our field, we have a lot of great people in Allegheny East. I'll just say it, we do. And so, even trying to say who is right for this. And that's not to say other people are wrong for this. Let me clarify that.
One hallmark is that all of those programs that we've done over the 4-year period, I don't believe we've had any show taken down.
Oh.
For any reason. I don't believe we were able taken down, because the censorship algorithms and things, and then copyrights, and
so we behaved. Is that what you're telling us?
So you didn't upset?
I like to use that term.
Yeah.
I think
just
the
agitated
the program, was and we were careful, especially me. I had to hold back a whole lot. Because when you start mentioning names and organizations, you can get a libel suit, you can get, so I think we navigated that pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So our newbies who came on second string, I guess. It was last year, right? You guys came on last year? Yeah.
This is our anniversary.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So let me ask you guys, because I'm not going to put you on the spot to ask how many of you were watching before you came on. I'm not going to do that to you. But I do want to know if you were surprised about, or was there anything that surprised you about what we do every Sunday, or was it pretty much what you thought it would be?
For me, I think I wasn't surprised.
Okay.
I was appreciative, number one, to be asked to join. And I was appreciative to be able to see the behind the scenes and how everything comes together. Also appreciative for the planning that we do to think through the different topics and the considerations that we give towards the viewers. That's a big part, the consideration that we give to viewers and what might be on their minds or what topics might be great for them to dive into. So it wasn't surprising when I joined to see. It was just more of a deeper appreciation of the detail that goes into everything.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think, for me, I was not a consistent, but from time to time, I did comment warrior, dropping a couple of jokes in there from time to time.
Yes, you did.
And so, to get invited in and kind of seeing and getting to know you guys beyond, the show and seeing the brains work, I'm like, man, this guy Chuck has a lot to say. He's a very intelligent guy. He's so quiet.
Yeah.
There is a fire that's burning behind there with a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And his ability to take in information. And you got Tally and Marlena and Pat, and I'm like, man, how do we all fit in together? But it works.
Right.
It works. We don't always have to agree to be on the same page in a weird way. and so it's cool, getting to know Keenan, and of course I knew GP, and listen, the woman of God is the woman of God. So always grateful to be in her presence. But I've enjoyed my time here. I'm excited that you guys have chosen us to be a part. we have made it to the upper room, and we are grateful to be here. Though we're on the bottom today, it's okay. Our day will soon arrive.
You
right?
rise to the top.
We'll be caught up to meet him in the air. But until then,
yeah, for me, it said what was a surprise. I guess it wasn't so much a surprise. Definitely was humbled that you would even ask me to join with these great minds, as Meg said. So that was great to be a part of. But what I like about it, just the behind the scenes, just that Tuesday meeting. I don't know, I'm gonna miss that probably more than Sunday, but I don't know. That Tuesday meeting is, we come together. We have a good time. So I'm definitely going to miss that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't want this to turn to the farewell show, guys. You guys. But I'm glad you mentioned the behind the scenes, because I remember someone asking me, I'm not sure who it was or when it was, but they're like, do you guys really all get along? I guess it's kind of like, how we were talking about the presidents earlier at the funeral, the niceties, and you show up and you're kind to one. They're like, do you guys really like get along for real? And I'm like, yeah, like we get along. We actually like each other in real life, as they say. And as Keenan was sharing, and many of you may not know this, we meet every Tuesday prior to the Sunday to talk about ideas, to discuss previous shows, to take some of your suggestions and see what we can do with them. So, and that's where I think that's where we kind of grow our bond as a team. I don't know. I think for me, that's been one of the best parts of this experience for me, is getting to know all of you a little bit better. You see people at like employees meeting, workers meeting, and you see here and there, but you don't get to really know them, like who they are, their little quirks and things like that. So I think that's kind of cool.
I want to comment on one thing that I personally enjoyed being a part of this, and that's the setup questions that Tally would come up with. When he comes with a setup question,
listen,
uh-oh, he's looking for a certain, angle.
Mm-hmm.
And
he wants you to answer a certain way so he can, embarrass you. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But also, I learned a lot from his brilliance. He's just a brilliant guy.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. You guys are funny. But I'm sorry. I see some of you making some comments in the chat, and I do want to address. So Mike Williams says, I love that you didn't or don't always spout the party line. And I guess what you're saying is we don't always say what we're supposed to say. I guess you said, you know what I mean? We're not always politically correct. We're not always saying what the official conference statement. And that's one of the reasons why we have a disclaimer. Even though this is a podcast, obviously under the umbrella of Allegheny East Conference, the opinions we express during the podcast are our own opinions. Okay. So we always do have to make that disclaimer, because we can't have anyone saying that Allegheny East Conference said boo 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 when it was really GP who said it, and and take it as official communication. So that's true, and that's really what we wanted. We wanted a space where we can just speak truthfully. Unfortunately, we've had administrations that supported that. We've never been silenced. We've never been asked to come and correct. No. Anything that's been said, so we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Mary said, I had no expectation, but it became such a pleasant blessing and surprise. If for some reason I had to miss, I always go back and watch, and we appreciate that. Mary, we do. We definitely do.
Someone else told me that too, face to face. They were like, I don't always watch on Sunday, but I always go back in the week.
Yeah.
Store. I think that's nice,
Yeah, we appreciate, and that's why we have it on this type of platform, so that anytime during the week when you want to go back and watch and catch up, and some people will tell me I watch, but I never comment, and I'm like, go ahead and put a little comment in the chat. It's fine. We'll put it up.
And
and
some
Rodney,
people listen to us.
yeah, they listen on regular podcast platform. So Rodney has a theory here.
It's true. It's really true.
That everyone is going to break out with their own thing, like the Jackson 5.
Yep.
Tasha, you're Michael. So
I was just gonna say that.
No,
You never can say goodbye.
Migs and I are already forming like a duo thing. So
we are.
Yeah. We
not podcast, but we can talk about that some other. We should. All right, we'll talk.
Yes, it's premature. It's premature. You weren't supposed to spill the beans yet. But I mean, that's one of the things too. One of the things when we were looking at individuals is who has experience with understanding what content looks like. Who has a presence online, and all of you have shown that. And it comes through, and it's one of the reasons why the podcast is what it is, because of all of you.
Natasha, I got a question. Please, what has been, because you've been here for 5 years, what has been the best, most memorable episode?
Ooh, that's good. Good question.
What jumps out to you? Anyone comes to mind?
That seems like such an impossible, but I will say one of the most impactful. Let's go with that one. Was after the Fordhams passed, and I hate to bring this up because it just makes me sad, but I think I was just so lost emotionally with how to process it. But being able to use the UpSet podcast and having people share and call in, I was like, wow, this is such a healthy way. And I thought to myself, Lord, you knew that this needed to be in place when that happened, because you knew there would be people who would need this to process, because this is also, during the pandemic. And so I think for me, that's when I gained a new appreciation for UpSet, because I'm like, we're more than just people coming on Sunday just talking. Like, we're people who care. We're people who want to connect to others. We want to be able to help lift each other up. And so I think, to me, those were some of our most memorable ones, because I think we did a couple of them. And those for me stand out. But there's one day I'm going to go back and look at some of these episodes, because sometimes I go back and we don't look at it like everyone else looks at it, So sometimes you go back and look at it as a viewer, you're just like, wow, I didn't even realize the conversation went that way, or flowed like that, or was even funny. In some cases you're laughing at yourself or laughing at other people. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So I'm sorry, Keith. Yeah. He said it was just a podcast ending. So Keith, we just shared that season 5, which is this year, will be our final season of the UpSet podcast. So we'll be on every Sunday for the rest of 2025, so we can rest easy. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. And I do want to, I know someone asked, can we do monthly? Can we, what's coming up next? And I would love to say that we have all the answers to these questions, but.
Well, you never know. There might be an encore podcast popping up every now and then. Maybe.
But
Chuck and Latasha.
I'm not volunteering myself.
Listen, I'm trying to, I'm a behind the scenes person, believe it or not. So, I would love to see other ministries springboard off of the UpSet and tackle different areas that even we haven't had a chance to tackle and see, because a lot of people,
very powerful platform.
Exactly.
The podcasts now are, outdoing a lot of mainstream media now. And when you look at Joe Rogan, Rogan is pulling in more viewers than some, cable stations.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's got millions of subscribers, and there are other, successful content creators that are just, and the public in general, and we would hope the members of our church would see us as an alternative. We have our own news outlets. We have Adventist, Adventist News Network, and and we have the official church papers, and then there are papers like or publications like Spectrum.
Yeah.
And Adventist Today, and so what that clearly is saying to us that people have something to say.
Yeah, right.
And they are looking for us to say some of those things.
Right. Absolutely.
Because you have a lot of constraint in the Adventist church. We're very legalistic, and we have to be careful what we say and ideas that we share. But podcast platform is very powerful.
It is. So I see some people, kind of catching on. Tips asked, is the podcast ending? She said if we end, she's going to start her own UpSet podcast. Hey,
Is that a promise?
We do want the UpSet podcast to be inspirational to others who, want to, create a platform where you can discuss the things that you find value in and build it up. Rodney said we're his news outlet.
Well, it's a consolation, folks. Season 5, we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
I sense that this is going to be an upsetting year.
Oh yeah.
And so there'll be plenty to talk about. So we'd like to have the viewers engage with topic ideas.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, Charles. So this is your chance right now to share with us within our next several months. What topics do you want to make sure we get in before we end? And yes, Tiffany, yes, the answer is yes. It is coming to an end.
Is everything on the table
in the traditional form?
Latasha, is everything on the table?
Is everything on the table?
Yeah, I'm saying you're asking for people's suggestions. Is there anything?
Oh yes, yeah. Everything. I mean, it's called the UpSet for a reason. So we try not to shy away from topics. So why to not end a podcast like this? Oh yeah, we just said we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. One thing I want to share is podcasts are not just powerful, but they can be profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I love about UpSet is that we have merch, we have ways that you can purchase things from us, and we didn't say, all right, this is our paycheck for showing up every week.
Say that.
We decided to give to others who are in upsetting situations. And it goes to show that the UpSet podcast is not in it for the income, but for the outcome.
All right.
JP,
We have a powerful legacy as a podcast.
Yeah. And I definitely want to earmark that because I've said it a few times, but I really want people to understand because I saw a comment from Keith earlier that he knows it takes a lot of time and effort to do this, and I want to really take the time to shout out all of my co-hosts because this is truly a labor of love. There is no additional podcast bonus that comes in their checks. I wish there was. Like, if it was up to me, there would be, but there's not. But they continue to show up for the podcast because they value what it brings to the table. And I think, to me, that's really what the true success. Because when people are doing things because they genuinely want to or see the need or the ministry in it, to me, that's when you get the best of the best out of it. And I really want to shout them out for that. And also Tiffany's like, so what led to this decision? What prompted this decision? Did I share what prompted this decision? And someone asked, like, I don't want anyone to think I'm excited about it ending, or it's like, whoo, get my Sundays back. It's nothing like that. Is this a matter of burnout? No, it's really not. When I watch sports and, you see some of the greatest players, a lot of times, I've heard them say, go out when you're on a high. Don't wait till you can barely dribble the ball at the court, and then they sit you down because
LeBron is still playing at 40.
Yeah, no, and that's true, Tiffany. I like what you were saying. It gives lowly folks, not that we think anyone's lowly, we're not agreeing with that part, but it gives people a chance to be heard, and we want to continue that. So even if it doesn't happen with UpSet, we're hoping to create other forums, even more of them, where this can take place. I think UpSet has shown us what's possible, and so we're ready to take it to the next level. So UpSet is just a springboard to more exciting content that's coming down the future. So fear not, we would never leave you guys hanging.
Comment there. What Tiffany just shared. She referred to the audience as us lowly people. We certainly don't see it that way, but I certainly understand the sentiment in what she's saying. It's also a sign that we're in an era, not only just in general, but we're in an interesting era for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And believers. A lot of people are questioning the questions, questioning the answers. I'm sorry.
Right.
A lot of people are questioning the answers. And, sometimes you got to have a platform or a place where you can question without being accusatory or rebellious.
Right.
And I think that's the most important part of our theme and our goal is the biblical perspective on things, but also be able to say, I think, we need to give a second or third thought about what the church does.
And it's okay to do that, like permission.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Like
I know, Keenan, you were saying you teach your children. It's okay to question everything, even if you taught them.
I would not be here with you all if I didn't question everything. Everything. Because I wasn't raised in the Adventist church, so this my mindset to question everything. Nothing is off limits.
Yeah, right. So am I reading this right, Mike? Does that mean that you'll talk about cereal sometime this year?
Oh, I think I know what Michael means.
Oh, the Kellogg's. Okay, yes.
And I have to give a shout out to Mike because he's very responsive.
Yes.
He has some interesting
I got it now.
Thoughts and emails that he shares with. So thank you, Mike, on that. But I kind of think we ought to deal with the cereal guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
We just have to,
like a whole show on it.
Well, it could be.
Can I get the Cliff Notes?
Depends how far
Yeah.
Clue me in. Need the Cliff Notes?
Yeah.
Because we had the same face. We were like,
yeah.
I looked over in the box and saw him. I was like, okay.
I mean, I don't think it's that, to me, that deep. I mean, just talking about Kellogg, But Chuck, I don't know.
Well,
the layers.
As Mike has shared with me, there are some questionable things that was done in that era concerning the church, and it causes one to, question a lot of the things that the founders of the Adventist Church has done. And continue, maybe some continue to do. There's some misconceptions and some misreads about Ellen White, and I just think it's worth talking about. Let's be real about it. There were some questionable things about Dr. Kellogg, who was one of the main,
pantheists, got kicked out of the church.
Yeah. But people even now, if in any particular podcast a subject comes up about origins of religious denominations, sometimes his name comes up. And I think I think maybe in the future, depending on our executive producer, if she feels it's worthy doing a deep dive. But it's not just. I think it's more than just the story of Kellogg, but it's the question of, do we know our church history well?
Yeah, because I tell you, Chuck, just reading this, our church history and all that stuff. Like, you look at James White, like this man has several. I don't want to get into it, but he has several strokes, and him just going back and forth with presidents and like this man really worked himself to death almost. And it's just really interesting just to know that history.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to talk about it, Mike, and thank you for sharing that with us, and all the other topics you shared with us. And I see Kavan shared one too, right? Religious liberty and church and state. Is that something you want us to talk about? Okay. Tiffany said she's going to start, well, I guess, stirring the pot.
Run with it. Run with it.
Oh, yeah, well, Yvette, I don't know about that.
Yvette Hart.
Keen, this is because of you. You said, is anything off the table? And now.
Yeah, put it on there. We're not afraid.
Well, I don't know. HR might be.
All right. On that note.
But no, so yeah, guys, we want you guys to be excited about season 5, because one of the things we're trying to be more intentional about, I guess we waited to season 5 to like try to create a little bit more organization with our shows each week. But just to give you a little teaser of what's to come in season 5, we want to kind of break our podcast up into kind of 4 different types of shows. So, I mean, still the same format, but just on the first Sundays of the month, we want to call what we call the UpSet the narrative, which is where we're taking a Christian perspective on some hot topic that's happening in the world. And we're kind of looking at it from a biblical standpoint and in terms of how we should be viewing these things that are happening around us. On the second Sunday of the month, we want to dedicate that to answering our listeners, which is all of you, your questions. And these are like rapid fire questions, or they could be questions that take a little longer. And so we're going to ask you to share. And these are questions that can be answered pretty quickly, I guess, or our perspectives on certain things. We want to dedicate every second Sunday to answering your questions, because during this final season, we want to make sure we get to interact with you as much as possible. And we want to make sure we get as much in this year. On third Sunday, we want to have the UpSet hot seat, where we invite a guest to come and talk about a particular topic. And we call it hot seat, but it's really just, inviting them to join our dialogue on a specific topic that we feel like they could give some insight to. And then the fourth Sunday is called UpSet the Basics. And this is where we're going to take some of our Christian fundamentals, some of the things that we learned in the beginning, like studying the Bible, prayer, and all of those types of things, and going and taking another look. And I'll just let you know, Tally's going to be leading out that one, because this is one of those things, like you were mentioning, Charles, that Tally has really like caused us to question a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's very scholarly.
Yeah, and so we're
no, but I know I'll stop. I won't mess with Tally. I won't mess with.
Yeah, so fourth Sunday is almost going to be like our UpSet Bible study. Like, I feel like it's like a little, our way of just looking at some of the things we traditionally do and asking ourselves those tough questions, like, how we've learned things, is that really how it is, or is it just the way it's always been? So I think we'll be able to cover a lot, breaking it down that way, and it gives you guys, as our listeners and viewers, a little anticipation of what's coming week in and week out. So I just wanted to give you guys that heads up, but it's going to be a great season. So come back every Sunday and let's keep upsetting things. Or how about Fifth Sunday? Yes, and there are some Fifth Sundays coming up. Thanks, Rodney. That'll be a wild card, so we'll decide what the Fifth Sundays will be. But thanks for asking.
Everyone could remember to like and share. Basically for YouTube content creators, they all know that there are more people viewing or watching than there are subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a ratio that if let's say 100 people show up for a live stream, there's probably 200 watching that are not subscribers. So we'd like for you to subscribe and basically share with family and friends. You know, that's very helpful. It also helps the conference's algorithms as well.
Yeah, so this can go to more and more people. And some of you have shared that you've shared this with some of your friends, and I appreciate that. I think, you know how we talk about sometimes being scared to invite friends to church because we're afraid of what it will be like for them when they come. We hope
mercy.
What, say that again. Say that again. What did you say? That's a show topic.
Some people have said they're scared to invite their friends to church because, you know, sometimes the churches aren't as warm, or the people are a little aggressive with doctrine when they meet people initially, and you know it's just not as welcoming.
Yeah, it's definitely a show topic.
Yes, but I feel like the UpSet is for anybody. I mean, this is a judgment-free zone. I mean, we do still, use the Bible as our basis, of course, but we're okay with being uncomfortable and okay with talking about anything, I feel. This is church on Sunday. I don't know, Rodney. You're gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah, why not? Maybe church on Monday or Tuesday or any day of the week.
Or you are the church.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah,
Yeah,
Donna.
we still got the whole year.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, guys. I mean, we know years fly by, but this one we hope will be one of the longest years of your life. No, Slam. Well, longest years with UpSet. Let's put it that way.
We love you, Miss Donna.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love meeting everybody at camp meeting. That's been a blessing too.
That was fun this past year.
Speaking of camp meeting, maybe we can pull off UpSet party or something.
Yeah, because it's gonna be a weekend, so we gotta get it in.
We can't go.
That is party.
We can't go on.
Oh yeah, and thank you. Oh, the cruise. Feel free to come on the cruise. Join us. CamCon cruise, our communication cruise. And I'm horrible at promoting the cruise on the UpSet podcast. Last week, Havis was like really getting on me about not promoting the cruise. But yes, we do have our cruise coming up. Right. Those who want to join us. Now we need an UpSet cruise. Oh, one at a time, Rodney. One at a time.
But the conference is sponsoring all the UpSetters. Is that what you told me, Latasha? No,
I think it was something about church evangelism funds, because we will be ministering to people on the ship. I think that was the conversation.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All in favor, please say.
Yeah, I'm a little curious. I see a comment from Winston. Need some clarity as to that statement. Do you see that?
Which one? It's not one.
Winston Lacombe. It's not one before Adventist.
Yeah, help us out. I think something was mistyped there. Defunded.
Oh boy, it's UpSet defunded. Mercy.
Oh, okay. Well, we can definitely put that as a topic. Lily, I have noted here. Not supporting our schools. We definitely will be talking about education.
But she said that don't really want us there.
Wow.
He said, everyone. Okay, all right. That will be some. We definitely got to reach out to some big pocket sponsors then to bring everyone with us. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. It's been great talking with you all. I thank you guys for being understanding as our UpSet family, and we're going to walk this final season together, and we're going to enjoy each Sunday with a little extra specialness because I see. Thank you. He said the podcast is not only for Adventist Christians. Yes, it's for me. Yes, that's great.
Which would make that fourth Sunday really cool, right?
Right.
Yeah, additionally cool.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I definitely want us to do that piece, because this can be a non-threatening way to introduce people to some truths about the Bible, and even developing their own relationships with God.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Thanks, Fernanda, for being with us. And you have a great week as well. And that goes to all of you listening and watching. Thank you for being part of our UpSet family. We love you, and we'll always be your UpSet family, no matter what. Yes. Good night.
Because if it's Sunday.
Am I allowed to say it now?
Yes.
We'll be right here next Sunday.
New Year.
Yes. Okay. Because if it's Sunday,
it's the final countdown to the final Sunday.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, guys. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next time.
God bless.
Peace.